everyone, and thanks for joining us. Today we're back with children's author Ed Morykwas. Hey, Ed, welcome back.
Thank you for having me, Sophia.
So, Ed, I noticed that you created a fabulous children's audiobook version. What
Mhm.
inspired you to take that extra step? And would you recommend that children's authors do an audiobook?
Yes, I would recommend that. It adds an entire new dimension to your story when people can actually listen and read at the same time. Uh, w- I'm a big fan of the old time radio shows uh, back in the 1940s and 50s. Uh, Dragnet, Gunsmoke, Fibber McGee and Molly, and all those. And so I wanted to create like a radio play, not just a typical as read by the author kind of a story, but actual actors playing the different parts. So in my book, there's Santa and there's Mrs. Claus and there's Aurora and there's other characters that come in and out. My son is a musician and he composed the original music score for this book. And also he did the sound audio engineering and the sound effects. So the first time he sent it to me when it was finally in place, it just sent chills up my spine. I almost started to cry because it was like, this is what I had in mind when I wrote this.
Well, that's fascinating, Ed. I love how you used so many elements to enhance the story, including your son's music, your own granddaughter's voice. What other elements did you use in your audiobook that you believe make it stand out as a special listen for kids?
Okay, here's the magic part. At the end of each page, my son inserted this little sound effect like chimes. And even a 4-year-old can listen because the narrator says at the beginning, when you hear this sound, ring, turn the page. And I watched kids, just turning through. That's based on an old, they used to do that in school. They would show these film strips. And when there is a sound effect, the teacher would advance to the next slide. So I'm trying to make it as family friendly and as kid friendly as possible. And I think it really works. I have the nicest neighbors in the world, and they threw a launch party for my book. And one of the features of the launch party was after we passed out books to everybody, we played the audiobook over the big speakers. And it was so much fun for me to sit there and watch their faces as they became absorbed in the story and the magic took over. And that was when I knew that this thing was going to be a success.
You know, that's fantastic. I think, first of
Mhm.
all, having your neighbors throw you a launch party
I
is
know, right?
great. Yes, is great. That's a great idea for authors. Have
They
somebody hold
they
it at
made
your
this
clubhouse.
poster. They made a big poster. I don't know if you can
Uh,
see that.
That's fantastic. I think a launch party is a great event
Yeah,
centered around a book. If you can host it anywhere at a friend's house, a family member's house, even your own house, get people to come and support.
right.
That's a great way to launch it. And
I
I
agree.
also think that just having those chimes and having a child read through along with that, it really teaches them how to read the book. And
Uh,
it gets you thinking because the whether I should do an audiobook or not as a children's author is a debate. And I think that it's great because it allows children to follow along. And maybe if they're
yeah.
reading the words themselves, if there's a word they get to that maybe they won't know,
Yes.
then the audiobook narrator says it, and that one is surprise, that word, and then we move along. Some things
Yeah,
like that.
you're right.
So I want to get a little bit more into the nitty gritty. I want to dive into the process with you. So what
Okay.
did your just whole process and timeline look like for this audiobook production?
Okay. My son has a sound studio in his basement that has that padding on the walls so that it's soundproof. And
Hmm.
he has one of those big microphones with the circle. And he recorded each part individually. So Santa is separate from Mrs. Santa is separate. I have a little part in there. We each recorded it separately, and then my son blended it all together into one recording.
Oh,
So
that's really neat.
yeah, it was fascinating.
When I love that you did it DIY, I think that
Oh yeah,
if an author does have the setup or can have the means for a setup, they can narrate it themselves. They can
right.
get, again, if it's a children's book, people they know to plan and have a
Mhm.
little fun, grandchildren, son, nieces, nephews, things like that. That's a very different outlook on it. And that's why I wanted to touch on that because say you're an author wanting to do an audiobook and you don't necessarily want to hire the actors or want to pay the money to get it fully produced, there are
Right,
different ways and different options.
right.
Right.
Everybody on my project did it for friendship.
That's great. Now, Ed, I want to close this section by asking you just some advice for audiobook creation. For authors considering creating an audiobook version for their
Hmm.
work, what
Hmm.
advice would you give about planning and executing a successful audiobook, especially for their children's story?
Okay, if you're going to go through Amazon, which is allied with audible.com, they have a tool. It's called ACX. ACX has a tool which is known as the playground. It's a place where you can upload your file and then it runs through an automatic checking process and it says, no, the volume is too low, the volume is too high, the range is, all kinds of technical things that I found so helpful because then I knew before I ever sent it to ACX, I knew it was going to pass because I had run all the checks on it myself in this playground. You'd have to Google it. If you just Google ACX playground, it'll come right up.
Well, Ed, thank you so much. That was wonderful insight on exploring audiobooks.
Thank you. I wish everybody well with their projects too.
That's all the time we have for today. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to today's interview with children's author Ed Morykwas. Be sure to check out our website for more videos. Wishing you all a fulfilling and successful writing journey.